Troy, the last time we talked, you were still in Ukraine. Now you are out, you're safe. What has happened to you in these past few days, if you don't mind kind of talking about how you have left the country?
Yeah, so we had a game last week on Thursday. We were at home. We played a home game, and then we had 2 days off for the weekend, Friday and Saturday. Saturday night we had practice. Everything was normal, and then Sunday, I woke up at like 11. I slept in a little bit, and first thing I wake up to is a call from my agent. And my agent's like, it's time to go. And I'm like, I immediately woke up with like adrenaline. I'm like, what? Like, this is completely different from what we were talking about a week ago. And he's like, yeah, it seems like things are going to go to the next level soon. So we want to get you out of there. So let's talk to the management and figure something out. And let's get you out of there. And he like hung up. And I'm like, oh my God, what's next? Like, so I was looking at flights immediately, talking to my family, talking to my wife. She was helping me try to find flights. So we made that happen. I bought my flight that day, left in the morning at 4 o'clock in the morning on Monday, and came to Norway Monday night. So it's been crazy. It happened so fast. Like, I fully trust what my agent says. He's Latvian. He's from the Baltic countries. He understands the, Eastern European situations. And apparently he had some intel of it being a problem, and he was right. And I'm blessed to have him make that decision, because honestly, if he didn't call me, I probably would have been still there, to be honest. So I left immediately. I trusted his word. I left. The team let me go, like, no problem. They said it was okay. And I technically still on contract with them. We'll figure that out, obviously not today or anytime soon because of the situation. But like, with that being said, I'm glad I'm out, but also like I'm super thinking about my guys back there in Ukraine, especially my teammates and everyone I know, because I'm in group chats with my guys and stuff, obviously, and they're saying, they can't leave. They're kind of stuck there at the moment. And I'm like thinking about them. I hope like they can get to their families, obviously.
Right. Yeah. I mean, so it's, about 9 a.m. our time. So a lot of people are watching, every news outlet, as you can imagine, is showing what's going on in Ukraine. You're kind of one of the only people that we can relate to that knows people in Ukraine. So if you don't mind, what's kind of the most up-to-date info in those group messages? How are your teammates doing? I know you just said they were kind of told to stay at home.
Yeah. So because Ukraine government issued the martial law, they really can't do anything. They have to kind of stay at home and wait. So, the official announcement of the Ukraine basketball league was obviously to suspend the league indefinitely. So don't know how that's going to work out. So there's no practices for them at the moment. They're still waiting for an update from the team management. Obviously, I'm not part of that update because I'm not there at the moment. But for them, they're just, I think they're chilling. It's not like there have been some attacks on the outside of the city of where I was staying, but like nothing too drastic in that city. So it's been good. I have like seen attacks all over Ukraine in bigger cities, and especially in the eastern side. But things could change tomorrow or the next day. It's gradually getting worse and worse, and it's not like Russia is letting their foot off the gas anytime. So I'm thinking about them. They're texting me and sending me videos. One teammate sent me a video of them early in the morning waiting for gas at the gas station, and the line was like down the street. It was packed. There was the cars, everyone was trying to get gas, and I'm assuming it was rather to just fill up in case something, or to fill up and leave, to evacuate, So I don't know the situation with that, but also one of my teammates are sending me like videos of like there's actual missiles that hit outside the city. No one was injured, but I'm like, geez, man, like I was just there like 3 days ago, And I feel bad for him, because in a way I kind of feel bad that I left, because I like it feels like I bailed on him a little bit, but then also in the back of my head I'm like, well, I mean, this isn't my country. This is not where I'm from. I guess it's a little different perspective, but I still feel bad about the situation.
Right. Absolutely. And just real quick before I forget, did you fly out of Odessa?
Yeah. So my team general manager on Sunday night, when I bought my tickets, got me and my other teammate a minibus to Odessa, which is about a 2-hour ride. We took the bus, went to Odessa. Both of our flights were that night or in the morning, like the next day. So we chilled at the airport and left. And then Odessa airport was fine. It was normal. No one was, this was before everything just, happened. So it was pretty normal. So I got out pretty much, like I keep telling people, I got out like at just the right time.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know, Troy, we were just talking earlier, and I know you were tweeting that you're watching the news and, really just glued to the TV like a lot of folks here back home are. But you kind of know these cities, the country, the people. What has really been kind of sticking out in your mind watching the images of, these missiles coming into Ukraine, watching the tanks roll in, really anything you've been seeing the last few hours?
One of the main things I was talking about with the guys, and also seeing on social media with the people I'm close with in Ukraine, they were asking people from outside their Ukrainian kind of bubble, like obviously for support, and Ukraine is strong, they will fight for themselves, obviously, but like they were asking for to spread the word of that they don't want this fight, they never wanted this fight, it came to them, and now they're defending themselves. And I think it's ridiculous. It's crazy to me. This is insane to me how I woke up and then all of a sudden it's like a full-on attack from Russia. So and they were just as surprised as me. And it's not even my country,
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just thinking, like, for their sake, they were blindsided, and now they're kind of defending themselves, not only literally on the ground in their own country, but also via social media, kind of explaining to everyone that like they don't want war. No one wanted war. Russia chose that path. So I think it's super interesting to see how crazy the situation is escalated.
Yeah, and I know when we talked last week, you were saying, your teammates, the team management was saying, this isn't, as big of a deal as people are making it out to be. And I think watching the news last night, a lot of correspondents were saying the same thing. A lot of people never thought this would happen. Is that kind of the feeling? Like, oh, people are like, oh man, like this actually happened.
Yeah, that's exactly it. Like I said, I believe I said in the last interview, we were talking about like the feelings of the situation. I was saying the Ukrainians and people here were just like, Russia does this all the time. They've been doing this since 2014. Like it's always been an ongoing war for them with Russia. And now that this war is literally on their border in their own country, it opened up everyone's eyes. No one was expecting this. Literally nobody.
And so you've been in Norway the past few days. What's kind of your plan really for the immediate future? Because as we've been seeing, it's really going to be tough to predict when this situation ends, if really at all.
Yeah, so this is a difficult situation. Obviously, I'm not really thinking too much about like my situation with a lot of people struggling at the moment. But realistically, if I'm thinking in the back of my head about what's next step for me, I kind of feel like I'm in limbo at the moment because contractually I am on contract with this team. Like I am with this team at the moment, but like with the league being suspended and the invasion happening right now, it doesn't look like anyone's going to go back to Ukraine anytime soon. So like realistically for me, I don't like saying this and thinking ahead, especially with today being like a very tragic day, but I will say that like I got to look after myself at some point, And I think the next step would be, and I don't want to get ahead of myself, but I'm going to say, if I can't go back to Ukraine, I need to find a different team. I need to go to a different country and finish out the season with them, and then have my summer, I guess. But I don't know. I haven't even really thought of it, to be honest.
Right. And Troy, I know, luckily you were able to leave a few days ago, so you weren't essentially fleeing a country that was being invaded at the time. And I know you mentioned when you were at the Odessa airport, it seemed pretty normal. And that was, Monday morning. And it was, now Thursday morning in Ukraine is when everything happened. So if you don't mind explaining how everything did kind of seem, business as usual.
Yeah, we had our practice schedules ready to go. Obviously, the team knew that most of us foreigners left, like all of us left, just for safe haven temporarily. This was the idea. I gave the hugs to my guys, or at least my management, when they dropped us off picked us up on the van. Gave them hugs, be like, we'll see you guys soon. We're just gonna take a week. The plan was just a week to relax, get away, get our minds clear, make everyone feel safe at least. Because we had the time off, we had a week away from a game, and then I didn't know that this was going to happen, obviously. And now with it just happening so drastically, like obviously it wasn't like all of a sudden. The buildup was there. Russia was obviously escalating slowly, but like they've done this to them for so long, no one expected it to literally happen, you know, like I just said. So it's hard to talk about how what did I expect from the situation, because I didn't expect anything. I
Right.
had no idea it was going to happen.
Right. And Troy, just one more time, because I know, you're probably one of the only, if not, the only main person right now with, current connections to the country of Ukraine. And I'm sure people will be watching things develop for hours and days to come. Is there anything else that you want people of Maine to know when they see, the city of Kyiv or Odessa? Is there anything that you want that people to know about the country?
Yeah, so obviously everyone's watching the news, everyone's reading the articles, everyone's trying to make up their own opinions about the situation. I guess, I mean, if you want to take my opinion and listen to me for a second, you can. If you don't, you don't. It is what it is. I'll never force my hand on anybody and how they want to think. But like, I will say, I don't like how I'm seeing people use this as a political scheme against the president, against our former president, against like making it like a political situation. Like, they got to understand that these Ukrainian people, most of them didn't want this to happen. And then it looks like from the outside that all these people, especially in America, I'm seeing is just making it into a political scheme, and then they like it was going to happen anyway and they deserved it. I don't see it like that at all. And it bothers me to see the fact that like the Americans, or even maybe even other countries, see this as like a propaganda kind of thing. And maybe it is in the end scheme, but realistically, there's people fighting for their own country, and I put myself in their shoes. You know, imagine if this was happening in America. How would you react? So I just ask, you know, put yourself in Ukraine's shoes, put yourself in a Ukrainian shoes, and try to have some sympathy and feel for them a little bit.
Hey, well, Troy, I think I can speak on behalf of everyone in Maine and say, we're glad you're okay. We're glad you've been safe the past few days. And again, we appreciate the time as always, just chatting and getting the up-to-date info.
Thank you, Sam. I appreciate you reaching out, brother.